Okay guys, so I'm going to talk about how I work my heat pressing process. So let me get started. So I have my shirt laid out to heat press and I'm doing a raglan baseball tee. Please ignore my terrible lighting. Turn this off so it'll quit beeping. Okay, so the first thing that I've done is I've pressed my shirt. So this is my raglan baseball tee that I'm working with. And so I have already laid it onto my press and pressed the space that I'm going to apply my heat transfer vinyl so that I can work with it. I have a swing away clamp, a swing away heat press. So I have it completely swung away so I can work without any burning or fear of heat, okay? So this is the image that I'm going to be applying. So this is my image. Well, that's it. I'm not selling this. It's going for a friend. You can see it has two different color vinyl. It has and this is glitter vinyl. So you have the red and then of course the sapphire blue. And I have already layered onto the back my little red piece so I don't have to do it separately. And I was able to line it up using the Cricut mat through this clear transfer tape, because I could see the lines through the clear transfer tape, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my measurements. So this is an adult size extra large shirt. I've made my image about 11 inches by 11 inches square. I'm going to start, and when I do my shirts, let me see. Sorry guys. Okay, when I do my shirts, I use one of these plastic. I'm sorry. We take care of my elderly father and he's listening to high school football. I'm from Texas and Friday night football is a big deal and he just randomly started screaming. I use one of these flexible measuring tapes and this is what I use when I do all of my shirts. So I'm going to start 3 inches. I want the design to start 3 inches from the collar. So I'm going to measure that out. See if that's better. There we go. 3 inches from the collar. So I just kind of pinpoint it with my finger and start my image there. Now, I have no idea if this is centered, straight, whatever. But we're going to find out in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to move my shirt up so that the space, I have a 12 by 15, so this takes up most of my space. And I can already tell you it's not straight. But we're going to line it up, eyeball it, and now we're going to measure it. So we're going to see if, we know it's 3 inches from the collar because we measured that a moment ago. But we want to see if it's even. So the best way that I do that is I start at the bottom of one of my letters, one end of my image, and I measure to the bottom of the shirt. And it's right at 15 inches. So I'm going to come to the other side of the image, in this case a letter, and I'm going to make the same measurement. And if I get, let me sit down, because I usually sit down when I do this. Okay, if I get a different measurement, then I'm going to double check it. And I have it about 1 inch off. So I have that this side is 1 inch lower than that side. So we are going to work with this. And this is the lovely thing about heat transfer vinyl, is that you can mess with it as much as you need to. Now since this shirt's given me some fits, I'm going to do a trick that I don't always do. Fold your shirt in half. A lot of times I can just eyeball it. This one's given me some struggles, but that's okay. So I'm going to fold my shirt in half. And this same method works whether you have a heat press or you're using an iron, because I started with an iron and I did this the exact same way, guys, okay? So don't feel like you have to have a heat press, although I will say, my heat press, I would not sell shirts before I had my heat press. I would make them for friends, family, coworkers, whatever. but I wouldn't really sell them. Now that I have my heat press, I feel much more confident selling shirts. Okay, so I'm gonna lay this out, and this little point right here, this is the center of the shirt. Okay, it's going to give me a guide point to go by. So I'm gonna pull this, and I'm just gonna press it. Did y'all hear him? I don't know if y'all can hear him yelling. He's yelling again. All right, so I'm gonna press my shirt. They have like a 42-0 lead. I don't know why he's hollering. All right, so I'm gonna press my shirt. Now I've got a crease in the center of my shirt to kind of give me a guideline of where I need to be. Okay. There. Much easier. Okay, so I'm going to put this back and get my 3-inch measurement again. So I'm going to get my 3-inch. Every time I go to talk, he starts to scream. All right, I get my 3-inch measurement again. And so I'm going to just guesstimate that. And now scoot this up. And I'm going to double check that measurement because my tape fell on me before I was really ready. So I'm checking it. It needs to go just a little bit. All right. So I'm going to move it down just a hair and check again. So now you have these center lines to work with. And the trick is you can take your image and fold the image where there isn't an image. Like pick a corner. There's a bunch of open space. But if there wasn't, I would just pick a corner and I would crease it. And you can do the same thing going this way. And that kind of gives you where your image should be centered on your shirt, okay? So I've got it here. And I'm gonna do this right here. Check my measurement again. Needs to go down just a hair. All right, so I'm gonna scoop this up. I've got it where I want it at the top. And scoop this up. Okay, so I'm gonna, remember my image is 11 by 11, so it takes up almost the whole 12-inch space, okay? So now I'm going to work with it. So now I'm going to measure from the bottom of this V to the bottom of the shirt and the bottom of the E to the bottom of the shirt, and now it lines up. Now I need to check it horizontally. So I use the outermost part of my letter. So I have the outermost part of my V to the edge of my shirt, and I do the same thing over here on the E, the outermost part to the edge of my shirt, and I see that it needs to come over. Now I should have known that because my line is right here on my transfer tape. My line on my shirt's way over here, so I should have already known that. So I'm gonna match that up. And you wanna make sure that the shirt doesn't crease underneath it, okay? So now we're gonna measure it again. So let's try it again. The outermost part of the V to the edge of the shirt is about 8 3/4. The outermost part of the V to the edge of the shirt, and you can move it over to measure it, it's about 8. So I'm going to take this measurement again. And so you just work with it until you get it centered. There's no right or wrong method. And sometimes it's just as easy as holding it up and looking. If you're doing smaller shirts, I will say that this process is much less complicated because your whole shirt will lay out on the image for you or lay out on your mat, your heating press. Mine does not, so obviously when I'm working with extra large shirts, and I do a lot of large shirts like XL and up for my clients, so it's just a process. So it needs to come about a 1/2 inch to my right, this way. All right, so I'm going to move that over. And now actually my line here matches up with the line of my shirt, so you could have definitely used that. I just don't trust that, y'all. I just don't. So I'm going to measure it again, about 7.5, which is what I should be at. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And it's pretty close. Now it's time to press my shirt. I'm going to double check my bottom measurement since I've moved it a little bit. I just want to make sure that my bottom measurement is even, and it is. Okay, so I always do the once over. So I'll pick my shirt up, hold it up, and just make sure that it looks right to me, okay? Just make sure that it looks right. Check your fonts, check your weeding, because you don't want to miss anything. And then you can put it back down onto your heat press. Now this is set for firm pressure, which means if you're using an iron, press as hard as you absolutely can. That just scared the daylights out of me. All right, so I'm going to press this down. There's going to be a little noise. I have some plates sitting here. And I do this for 15 to 20 seconds, okay? And don't move it, just let it be. So I'm at 15. I'm going to go ahead and let it go just a little bit longer. Lift my press up. Swing it away in my case. And now this will peel. Hot peel. Don't forget to hot peel the second layer of transfer tape. If you have a sheet of Teflon, you can place that over this and do it again. I just fold up the bottom of my shirt. Okay. Press it again for about 5 seconds, and I don't latch my heat press into place. I just put firm pressure with my hand, but I don't latch it all the way. Just about 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. Just to kind of seal everything into place. And now, my friend has a sparkly Houston Texans shirt that she can wear. And to help get my name out there, look how sparkly that is. I absolutely love this glitter vinyl. And it's the easiest thing to work with. The only drawback is a little pricey, but when people see it in person, now of course I can't sell trademark items, but when people see it in person, they're willing to pay for it. So just don't be afraid to play around with some glitter, okay? Y'all have a great night. I hope I was some help. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comment box. And I appreciate you bearing with me through my bad measurements tonight. I probably should have had a little wine before I did this. It seems to help a little bit. Y'all have a good night. Bye.